Today we're going to be reviewing the Magicshine Ray 2600 bicycle front headlight. Most new bike lights tend to be only minor updates to legacy products such as color or battery capacity changes. What sets Magicshine apart is it's one of the few companies that actually does major overhauls when they introduce a new series. The new Magicshine Ray 2600 is a great example of this, as it's one of the smartest lights Magicshine has offered to date. In terms of packaging, it's very simple. You have this nice caricature of a bike on here, Ray 2600 in Magishine's orange coloring, and otherwise a nice simple cardboard box. Specs are written here on the back with all the specs, including the FL1 tested rating, which is always nice to see. That's something a lot of the cheaper Amazon lights don't have. They just claim lumens that don't actually match what you'll encounter when you're riding. We'll go ahead and take it out of the box and go over the specs. Retail price on this is $144.99. So it's about a mid-level bike light. It's 2600 lumen output, so very bright for an all-in-one design with an integrated battery. It has a dual LED design. You can see you have an LED on the left and the right with different optics on it. This one's more focused, while this is a more traditional cone beam. It has a 6700 milliamp battery. It consists of two lithium-ion 18650 cells in here. And it's really impressive that you can get such high capacity on such a small package. It's also USB Type-C rechargeable, which means you get really fast charge times, and you can also discharge to use this as a power bank on other devices. So a really nice feature, and you can use the same USB Type-C cable you already own. And what makes this the smartest front light that Magishine's offered is it has an integrated ambient light sensor, which can automatically switch between day and a night mode. In terms of what's in the packaging, you can see we have the light, the simple cardboard cutout that holds it in place. We get the front handlebar mount that we've seen with a lot of Magicshine lights. It's a little strap design that goes through with a bolt to provide a little tension. It's a Garmin style mount, so that means you can use any style Garmin compatible device, which is a really nice feature. It doesn't use a proprietary mount. And underneath it, you'll see more accessories. You get the USB Type-C charging cable. Again, really nice. You can reuse cables from your cell phone or other devices. Multiple strap options for the mount. This lets you use it on aero bars, on shorter bars or mountain biking bars using the same mount. A little Allen key as you need that to install. You get an adapter for GoPro to Garmin. That means you can use other GoPro mounts, put this on there, and then actually mount your light on that. One of the great advantages of having a GoPro style mount, you can use all these built-in accessories. Instruction manual, and we also have the optional USB Type-C wired remote. So this lets you remount the power button somewhere else. It's about $10 separately, and you can see very simple design. You have an O-ring to mount it, and then a little toggle button. This lets you put it closer to your hood or wherever you want, although the cable is fairly short, so you can use this for a helmet mount, as it's too short for that. Now let's take a look at the weight of the Ray 2600. So the headlamp by itself, that comes in at 192, so a little bit on the heavier side due to the dual lithium-ion battery cells. The handlebar mount with the stock little strap on there, that's pretty light at only 16 grams. And then the remote wired switch with the little O-ring to mount it, that's only 14 grams. So now let's go over the fit and finish of the Ray 2600 headlamp. Now visually, this light looks a lot like the other Magicshine commuter style all-in-one lights. It has a rectangular body with these rounded corners to it, and it uses an aluminum housing, so it feels really premium and looks quite premium as well, especially compared to plastic body lights. You have a two-button interface on top, which is really nice to see. So you don't actually have to go through flash modes, and the two-button interface allows you to navigate the menu a lot easier. Minimal branding, Magicshine on top, Ray 2600 written on both sides. Little details like this cutout here, the fins and the housing. Little cutout in the headlamp to provide a little side visibility when you're riding. And then you have a dual LED setup. What's unique about this is that it actually differentiates between the LEDs. So unlike the MJ or the Monteer, where all the lights kind of look the same, here you have a standard lens, so just a big cone style beam. So it'll light up the road and the trees, so great for trail riding. While the one on the left here, you can see has vertical diffusers to really diffuse the light out, and then a little diffuser down here in the middle to point it downward. So great for road riding or urban riding where you don't want to have a lot of glare. There is no DRL like the Allty, and there is no runtime display like you'll get with the Allty 2000. Instead, you get a 2-button interface and the built-in light sensor that's actually right here on the top button. It's the first time we've actually seen the light sensor on a Magicshine light headlamp. They have it on the See Me taillights, and it's one of our favorite features as it lets you just leave it on there, automatically switch between day and night mode. On the back, you also have the USB Type-C charging port, and this actually gives you fast charge times, allows you to use the same cable, a USB Type-C cable, and also lets you use this as a power bank for other devices. The other thing is you get this remote control too. It's USB Type-C. So it's fairly short, but if you were to mount this on your head, like on an out front mount, you could put this down near your drops and then control the light. So nice feature. And we'll show that on the bike a little bit later. So now let's jump into the interface. You'll notice that when I click it, it actually goes red. Whether I click the top or bottom button. This indicates we're in the lockout mode, and lockout mode is kind of known as the transport mode with other lights. This is great for transporting the light, throwing in your backpack, or storing it and making sure it doesn't automatically turn on or accidentally turn on if it hits something. So to disable the transport mode, hold both buttons, and then you'll wait a few seconds, and the color on the backlight should change. So you can see now we're green. The other thing is this has essentially 2 modes. You have a smart mode and a not smart mode. In smart mode, it uses the light sensor and switches between day mode, which is a 50 lumen output mode. And then at night, it switches back to one of the pre-selected 14 modes. So to change that, click both buttons. You can see it's flashing blue. Flashing blue means you're in the non-smart mode. To confirm, double press both. The other nice thing is here, you can see the backlit buttons. So with the light off, I can click it and it'll show me the color. It'll either be green, red, or flashing red. We wish there was a little more granularity, but the nice thing about this is before you ride, you can click it, and if you see red or flashing red, throw it on the charger before you ride. Now to turn it on, press either button. Then you can actually use the dual buttons to go up and down in intensity, and that's a really nice feature. You don't have to cycle through all menus. You can just press up, down, and you don't have to go through flash, and that's one of the biggest advantages of the style interface. So to do flash, it's a double click, and it has 2 different flash modes, and you double click again to go out. But the nice thing is to change intensity while you're on the road, just press up and down quickly, and you don't have to hit that flash mode, which can be really distracting when you're riding. Now, the smart mode is probably one of the coolest features of this light, so we'll turn it off again. We'll go into smart mode by double clicking the buttons. You can see I'm in flashing, so I'm going to press up and it should stop flashing. So I pressed up, stop flashing. To confirm, double press, you get the green. So now we're in the smart mode, and what's nice about smart mode again, it's just like the See Me taillights, it'll automatically go between the 50 lumen mode and whatever of the 14 modes you picked. So we'll turn the light on again. And what you'll see, it'll start out in the normal mode, and now I'm in the 50 lumen mode. So you can see quite dim, and if I cover up the light sensor to simulate nighttime, you can see I'm back into the mode I pre-selected. So you can see I'm in night mode, and then I hit day mode again, and I'll automatically switch back. So this is great if you're going through a tunnel, or if you just ride between morning or night times, or it's day and night. You don't have to press any buttons. The light sensor will automatically do the work for you and switch between the two. And you can see pretty responsive as well. Now let's go over the light output of the Ray 2600. What's nice about this is a dual LED design, and you can run the left by itself, the right, or a hybrid mode. And as you can see here, the left and right are quite different. The right mode has a lot of deflectors to really focus the light downward. And as you can see here from the beam profile, most of the light is underneath that horizontal line, so you have much less glare than standard lights. On the left, you have a standard cone beam, and you can see it's pretty much centered in front of you right along the line. And in hybrid mode, you get both. So you get that flood lamp and a spot lamp. It's really obvious to tell a difference between these also from the side profile. Here you can see the side profile of the standard beam, and it has a nice cone beam, so great for trail riding, but has a lot of glare. And then for comparison, here is the right side LED by itself, and you can see it's much more focused. A lot of that illumination is on the ground rather than being above you. Now there are about 14 modes with the light, so you can run eco, low, medium, high, and you can see the run times vary quite a bit, with eco being very dim and high being about half the maximum for the left and right, and then the full 2600 in the dual mode. The beams are very different, so especially when you're riding, you can really tell the difference, and the jumps in the lumens are quite obvious between low and high. And thanks to the up and down arrow interface, it's much easier to navigate them. So as you can see here, once you go to 1300, it's very bright, and these shots actually don't really do the light justice, as they're a lot brighter than they look here. And then with the hybrid mode, you get the combination of the two, with the full 1300 at medium, and then if you go full 2600, it's an impressive 1.5 hours runtime, so more than enough for dark trails. We normally ride with the medium or high. There's also 2 flashes with 330 lumens, one very fast flash and then a more steady flash, so enough variation that's useful on the road. Here you can see some riding footage with the lower setting. It's great for urban riding, so you're not blinding pedestrians or other cyclists on the road, with a nice focused beam. And then it's easy to go up and down with the arrows. The little remote control is also pretty helpful if you want to mount the button near your drops, but then you lose the up and down. Like I said, we usually ride with the medium or high setting, as that's more than bright enough. And during the daytime, the smart sensor automatically goes to the 50 lumen mode, which is great, so you don't have to really touch it. And overall, riding with this, it's very equivalent to some of the higher powered Magicshine lights without all the bulk, as it's an all-in-one design. So now let's compare the Ray 2600 with some other Magicshine lights. Now one of the more direct comparisons is between the older Monteer 1400. You can see very similar rectangular design, dual LEDs. The nice thing about the Ray 2600 is that it has almost double the capacity of the older Monteer, even though it's the same size. So a good testament to the increase of battery capacities. It also has the Garmin mount instead of their proprietary mount, which is another great improvement. The other series of commuter-style all-in-one lights that Magicshine has is the Allty. You can see this is a little smaller Allty 400. A single LED with the horizontal deflectors here for a little bit of anti-glare. Otherwise really simple, again, similar design, aluminum body. And as you go up in power, all the way up to the Allty 1000, you can see same size as it has a similar battery style, but smaller capacity with the Allty 1000. One button interface, which is a little more confusing to use. And then you get DRLs, which is nice. So that's one thing you don't get with the Ray. Instead, you get the day mode. And the nice thing here is the dual button interface is much better than the one button interface. The other Allty light is the Allty 2000. This actually has a runtime display screen. And that's actually nice. You actually get more information here about what's going on, the battery capacity, the mode, as it also has a dual LED design and a DRL. So I like the screen on the Allty 2000, but obviously the Ray 2600 has more battery capacity. And then the fact that it automatically adjusts between day and night mode means there's less user interaction. You just leave it in there instead of having to switch between the DRL mode and the night mode. The other thing you can see is the size of this is much smaller, as you don't have that large DRL at the top. Instead, it's streamlined only to the top portion of the body. The other lights they have are more powerful, like the 900 series. So this is the 902S. You can see again dual LED design, but as I mentioned in the review for the 900 series, the lights are too similar. The beam style is almost identical, so there's almost no advantage to using left or right. This one does have a DRL, which is nice, but with the smart mode again, you don't really need it as much. And for 3000 lumens of the 902S, you have to have this giant battery pack compared to the 2600 lumen of the Ray without a battery pack. The main difference here is the battery pack gives you a lot more runtime. Obviously, the 2600 lumen output of this is almost limited to like an hour and a half, while the 902S can run much longer thanks to the big battery pack. The other series is the Monteer series, and this is the 3000. The 3500S, you can see much bigger, more of a off-road trail design with the 5 LED design. One button interface, which makes it harder to navigate, and again, a bulky battery pack. So I think the Ray 2600 offers a nice compromise between power and compact form factor, and with the smart sensor, I think it makes it a lot easier to use when you're riding. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Ray 2600. What we like about it, it has a lot of modern features like the USB Type-C charging port. It also has a 3-level battery status indicator, which is a great way to check the battery before you start riding. And finally, really like the 2-battery interface, which makes adjustments easy as you don't have to cycle all the way from low to high to adjust the intensity. You can just click up and down and directly go to the setting you want. Some of the cons is the fact there's no DRL. There is a daytime mode and the smart mode, but it would be nice to have a DRL just for that cleaner look. And because of the focused beam on the right side, this light shouldn't be mounted upside down. It'd be great if Magicshine offered a upside down mount that'll let the light stay oriented correctly, but be mounted underneath an out front mount. And finally, it is a little difficult to remember to use, how to remember to use all the features. You do have to hold the buttons to access the smart mode, and you have to hold it again to turn on the lockout mode or disable it. Taking everything into account, we'd give the Ray 2600 a 9.5 out of 10. This is one of Magicshine's smartest headlights, and has pretty impressive output for the size. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.